I think Flow is an example of a very interesting application of huge value to the bank and our work. From an ICT perspective, and my name's Edward Anderson, I work in the ICT sector, we see this emerging from three related trends in the ICT world in the last 5 years. I think the growth and sophistication, but particularly penetration of cell phones in the developing countries has been astonishing and very powerful as a platform for delivery of data, but also collection of data from citizens as well as project teams. But also when we combine this and we look at the sophistication and increasing maturity of social media and online communities around key interest groups or constituencies, particularly the mapping communities, and OpenStreetMap is a great example of a Wikipedia of maps, if you like. It's an online map of the world where volunteer editors, it has over 350,000 today, will volunteer their time to edit, adjust, render, publish maps, comment on them, rate them, organize them. And this is very powerful when you begin to upload data, because there's very little you need to do as a citizen. You focus on your piece of the infrastructure rather than the whole pie. And of course this speaks to the third trend, which is a quiet revolution in the geospatial world. I think we've moved from very high-end, sophisticated and precise GIS tools, which still exist and still have their place, but around them has grown a mushroomed community of what's called neogeography, but really driven by free or cheap data like Google Maps, very cheap devices and ubiquitous devices for encoding location into the infrastructure. So what this means is, GPS phones, GPS cameras, sensor web of devices that are location aware, maybe not GPS chips, but they know the nearest ISP or the nearest Wi-Fi. And encoding location into the information architecture is important because it allows you to begin to customize your service via these mobile platforms. So a few years ago, with the social media and the web, we began to see these online tools like waterpointmapper.org, which were great tools where someone could tag a water point with GPS coordinates, publish it on a website, view it on the map. And this really changed the paradigm a little bit with transparency issues around service delivery, service access. But what we see today, and what I think is very exciting about Flow, is migrating this to the mobile platform is very powerful indeed. Now Flow is an example of really combining all three. It's written for the smartphone, so it integrates with intelligent phones that have GPS chips. And we expect in the world today to have 500 million GPS-enabled phones out of, I think we have 5.3 billion mobile subscriptions worldwide. 3 billion of those are in the developing world. So most phones in the developing world are still dumb phones, if you like. They're still not smartphones. But the trends are accelerating. The bank started with a GPS camera project in Afghanistan, tagging pictures of infrastructure for asset mapping, roads, irrigation ditches, canals, dikes, dams. These cameras, 3 or 4 years ago, were costing the bank $1,500 each. The Flow phones that are used today cost $150 each. So in just 3 or 4 years, the price has come down by an order of magnitude. So when we begin to think about where is this all going 5 or 6 years from now, well, we really don't know. We can't say it. It's really an experimental field. But we do know that even in 6 months from now, there will be another app for that. And those apps are quite relevant to our work. So how do we think about enabling clients to take advantage of the best apps that are out there, that use the tools that are already in the pockets of our project teams, of our contractors, or even the citizens and beneficiaries themselves? And I think that's where the future's going. Java-based app for Nokia phones, but also Android-based apps for smartphones. A whole suite of different project supervision, mapping, feedback from the citizens, but also feedback to the citizens around water and sanitation issues. I think it's going to be a mushrooming field.